Hi friend, welcome to July 9. This is our daily challenges. I'm Pat Sloan and we're doing quilting challenges every single day except for Sunday now. Remember, none on Sunday because we've all worked so hard the other 6 days of the week. Okay, so what do we have today? I have got our status as before quilting. So that can mean a lot of things, but what we're going to talk about today and what your challenge will be is how you get your top ready before you do the quilting part. So here you go. This is what I do. I do send a lot of my quilts out to the spa, and the spa is what I call sending it to my long arm quilter. I send a lot to Cindy and Dennis, and they are my friends and for many, many years and help me also with the Facebook group. So they're the people who will jump in and answer your questions and approve things. So they are my wonderful buddies. So before I send it to the spa, the one thing I want to do is be sure that I've checked it all for like a lot of loose threads. And that is something that I think we tend to forget because especially if you have a light fabric, if you've got a dark thread tail, that light fabric can get under the top and on top of the batting, and then you'll see it. And all of a sudden you'll see this dark line under your quilt top, and that's really not very pretty. So you want to check those loose threads, check for long thread tails that might be strung out somewhere. Then the next thing you want to do is be sure that you have good seams, because you know we're not all perfect. Life would be so boring if we were all perfect, wouldn't it? So sometimes we're sewing and maybe, it looks fine on the top, but maybe underneath your one fabric had slipped back a little bit, and so the seams weren't as quite strong. So just go along, like I'll go along on the top and just sort of check it. Be sure there's no pop seams. You could even give it just a little pull, because particularly if you're sending it away to be quilted, when they put it on the long arm, they stretch it tight. And that means if you had any kind of little narrow seam, it could actually pop out and pop open. And then your spa owner will call you to take it and fix it, usually, because they don't want to do that to your quilt. I mean, they might, but talk to them about it. Just avoid it to begin with. Check the quilt first. So if you've got all your stray threads and you've checked that everything is really nice, all the seams are really nice, then you have your backing to prepare. So when you prepare your backing, whether you're doing it for yourself to do on your trusty machine at home or whether you're going to send it out to the spa, your backing needs to be bigger than the top. I usually go for about 4 inches all the way around, which means 8 inches. 4 plus 2 sides is 8. 8 inches bigger than the quilt top, at least. Sometimes I do a little bit bigger than that, just because I don't want to trim off an inch. That just doesn't make sense. I'd rather send the whole thing. If I'm working at home, I'm a bit more frugal, because that extra space means bulk here in the opening. So I will maybe make it, 2 inches or so, but I'll make it, that's if it's not a big quilt. If it's a big quilt, I will still do like 4 or 5 inches, because I need to center it. And by the time you start in one section and are basting down to the other section, I don't want to all of a sudden have no backing behind it. Who's done that? Yeah. More than once? Double hands, yeah. So it's very frustrating to be basting and all of a sudden you have to go and sew a corner on, or if or if you're really particular, you don't want to do that, you have to unbaste everything and rebase. It's really a pain. So you want to check the size, you want to make sure it's big enough. So the challenge today, the challenge is look around. I bet some of you have one quilt top that's ready to be quilted. And if you do, if you plan to do it yourself, go ahead and check for the stray threads and check all your seams to be sure you don't have anything that's going to pop open, and then get your backing ready so that now you have this nice little stack. It's all ready to go when you're ready to quilt. If that quilt is going out to the spa to be quilted by a long arm quilter, same steps. Check them, get it ready, and then if you can, mail it off. Get one of them out the door ready to be quilted. So that's your challenge today on before quilting. Okay, the other thing going on today is part 2 of our jelly snowflake. Yes, Yes. So the jelly snowflake is, there's 4 of us that you are visiting during the month of July. You started with Sherry McConnell, and today we are going to Beverly site, Flamingo Toes. Next week will be Chelsea, and then after that will be moi. I'm doing the wrap up on this one due to this. I'm floated to the end of the schedule. So today your block is, drum roll, stars. They're super cute. So Greg's gonna roll down here, and my quilt is already put together, but we have expertly folded this. Well, Greg has expertly folded this so that you can see the star block. And you will be doing 8 of these. So the pattern download is at Bev's site, and you can go to my site and see my blocks, because if you're using a similar jelly roll or the same jelly roll as me, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, I'm using all different fabrics, and I've got a picture of each star that I did, so if you want to duplicate mine exactly, and then you go over to Bev's site. Okay, Greg, let's take a look at the jelly roll. So I want to show you this jelly roll because this one is called, show the little tag, yeah, it's called Jelly Season. What's Jolly Season? I'm sorry. It's called Jolly Season. It's super cute. We're just going to flip through a few of these because what I'm doing, well, he's just flipping them so you can see the fabrics. I'm going to talk about it. I have mine made scrappy. So as you've been watching on the Facebook page, some people have them as, you know, like all red or all blue, which are going to be so gorgeous. Mine is going to be scrappy. So these are the strips that I did not use. I could do a second quilt with these. My friend Sue pieced this one for me. So here are look, this is what I just love, these snowmen. These are the cutest snowmen. And there's the patchwork trees. So you already saw those already. The trees and the deer, now they're upside down there, but they're directional. So you have the placement for the blocks. So, you know, check directional fabric if you have it. Cute little snowflakes. So mine is scrappy, scrappy, scrappy. I did not use any of the ones. Show the one with a light background, Greg. Just here, like I did not use the ones that are light like this because I have the cream background and they just won't pop and give the effect that I want. But got all the other colors in there. Okay. Now I'm going to do a question. So I have a question that I've gathered up. So I'm going to try to be doing a question every so often. One of our friends at Quilt Along with Pat Sloan asked about foundation piecing. So she wanted to know, why would you use foundation piecing versus regular patchwork for a block? And that's really an excellent question. And foundation piecing is where you actually will sew onto the foundation, and the foundation is often paper, which is often called also paper piecing. But foundation can also be fabric. Years ago, people would use you know, muslin and just use a foundation, and then it stayed in the quilt. Actually, it didn't come out. But if you're using paper, you would rip the paper off. So why would you do that? The thing is precision, because there's often types of blocks that will maybe stretch with the fabric, or it's harder to get like super sharp points because you're doing a lot of bias work or a lot of small pieces, and so the foundation makes it really easy. I've got some awesome basic foundation papers from the Fat Quarter shop that I'm going to show you 2 of them, and they actually have a third one that's brand new that I haven't gotten yet. So we're going to first look at the log cabin. So the log cabin, now this is a 6-inch block finished, and it is using 1.5-inch strips. And the reason why you can open it now, Greg. The reason why it's excellent to try this on paper is because a 1.5-inch strip is fairly tiny. And the neat part is that if you want to do this with your scraps, they might be on bias. You might have something that's maybe 1 3/4, and you could still use it. It'll just be extra seam allowance because everything is going to be sewn onto the papers. Now this is colored light dark, but you could do the coloration of the log cabin any way you like. And you have a whole packet of these. So you could do a really nice big quilt with, there's 42 sheets in here. So you could do a really nice big quilt with this. They also come into 12-inch size, which I'll show you on the next one then. So the other block, like log cabin, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, I don't need to do that. But the smaller strips are really make it effective, keep everything tight and straight, and there's no stretching, no warping. The pineapple block is so perfect for foundation. So you just want to open that real quick. So you're starting in the center, and then you're sew and flip around all these corners and out and out and out. And you just follow the numbers. You put this down, you put this right sides together, sew the seam, pull it over. Right sides together, sew the seam, flip it over. And as you go, you build this out. And this is not as nice a block without foundation. Foundation makes this a beautiful block. And they all come, the economy block is the other one. And then they all come also in the 12-inch size. Just open it real quick and you can see big blocks. So there you could use up tons of scraps. And these are super fabulous. Okay, so I will link you up to all of the things I just showed you, to the links for the jelly snowflake and to these foundation papers. Exciting! Your challenge today is go get a top ready to quilt. Go do those things you need to do. I am Pat Sloan. Thank you for being here. Thank you for using my links. They help support our small family business. I love you and I can't wait to see you online. Mwah!